기독교인 수혜 감소로 인해 다음 세대를 고민하는 것은 한국 교회뿐 아니라 미국도 마찬가지입니다. 이를 위해 미국의 지도자들은 이전보다 더 많은 자리에 열린 대화가 필요하다고 강조하는데요. 그 대화의 핵심은 삶으로 나타난 믿음을 나누는 것이라고 합니다. 미국에서 전해온 소식입니다.
Despite our Judeo-Christian roots, fewer Americans are identifying as Christians, while the number of Americans with no religion is growing at a record pace. Pew Research first surveyed more than 35,000 Americans about their religious views in 2007, then repeated the study 7 years later. During that time, those who call themselves Christians dropped nearly 8%, driven by declines among mainline Protestant and Catholic congregations. Non-Christian faiths inched up ever so slightly, just over 1%. At the same time, though, Americans who say they're atheist, agnostic, or so-called religious nuns jumped by more than 6%, making the nuns now nearly 23% of the population. 3 Christian U.S. senators, 2 Democrats and 1 Republican, recently talked about this change and the role faith plays in their jobs as elected leaders.
I've struggled in 22 years in public life for sort of how to be a religious person in the world that I'm in. And what I've decided is I should just be authentically who I am, and much like I would share that I'm interested in the Kansas City Chiefs or love baseball and camping, if I would share that, or if I would share that I'm married and have 3 children, why wouldn't I share the most important thing about me?
Oklahoma Senator James Lankford says the nation is becoming increasingly uncomfortable with expressions of faith.
I tell people all the time that faith is faith when it permeates every part of who you are. If your faith only matters to you on weekends, that's really not a faith, that's a hobby. And you can have a hobby, that's okay, but if it's a faith, it affects how I treat my wife, it affects how we treat each other, it affects how I drive, it affects how I interact with other people. It shouldn't be something that I hide because I was elected.
As people of faith and lawmakers work through these issues, the senators agree open dialogue is critical.
People will say you're either for religious liberty or you're for gay marriage. Or they'll say if you support religious liberty, then you're anti-gay. And they want to take that and just pull that apart. And that is factually not who we are, nor where we have been as a nation. And I think that is a very precarious road of constricting speech.
Putting people in a box, Lankford maintains, silences people of faith and stops important conversations. With the growth in millennials choosing lives without faith, Senator Chris Coons worries about religious literacy among non-believers. He says an individual's right to exercise their religion must be on equal footing with individual liberty.
As long as we can continue to lift up the importance of individual religious free exercise, and that it deserves an equal footing with a civil society where we respect individual liberty, we're at least asking the right questions.
And fortunately, those best principles do show up in the research. Devout Christians are actually reading their Bibles, sharing their faith, and praying together more today than they did 7 years ago. Senator Kaine says we're blessed to live in a country where both sides can talk about these issues civilly. That keeps America as a beacon to parts of the world where there is no peaceful approach to separate religious beliefs. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.